From mangrove to metropolis has been the man-made story of Singapore. Our farmers and fishermen are an essential element in our economy, supplying fresh greens the whole year round.
This video was made over 50 years ago. It opened my eyes to how important farming used to be back then.
Today, we wouldn't survive long eating food only grown in Singapore.
Be it meat, produce, or seafood, we ship more than 90% of our food from all over the globe. Which is why even something small, thousands of miles away, can have a huge impact on how much we pay for our food.
Enjoy it more because the prices might go up.
Oh man.
$50 cannot buy as much as 7 years ago.
This season I'm going far.
Sorry.
And getting dirty. To find the real story behind the question.
So why is our food more expensive? Ow!
My name is Ming. I'm a self-taught chef,
Guys, all day should have 3 roast chicken on standby, right?
restaurant owner,
Dip each little oyster into the pasteurized egg yolk.
and a massive food nerd.
And I'm on a mission to find out what we're really paying for.
This week, we go green.
市场上某些人都形容这个菜为小姐菜。
小姐菜.
Kailan is now 40% more expensive, and its rising price is tempting some to crime.
他们从这里进来，直接去问他们的顾客。
And then, I head all the way to France.
Come with me.
Sure.
We go to see a cow. Her name is Juno.
Juno.
To get a grip on how a butter crisis here
Into the supermarket, there is no butter.
No butter.
affected us thousands of kilometers away.
Butter prices last year started going up. I don't think we can absorb this anymore.
Butter. A brick of it makes me melt. It's essential on our kaya toast. And with good coffee, it's a heavenly pairing.
So you can't tell from a small piece like this, but last year, Singapore consumed 16,900 tons of butter. That works out to a mind-boggling 67 million standard blocks of butter, or about 11.5 blocks per person. One of those blocks is in my breakfast today. Do you love butter?
Oh, absolutely. It's my favorite.
I use it to cook eggs as well, especially scrambled.
Fish, grilled fish, and baking fish with maybe a little bit of lemon.
Paratha, butter naans, and then you have butter chicken.
I think I like pastries. They have a lot of butter inside, like croissant.
Over the last 5 years, a kilogram of butter has gone from $6.45 to $9. That's a price increase of 40% in 5 short years. Which is probably why this popped up on my Facebook feed last year. In May 2018, local bakery Plain Vanilla announced a price increase to their signature cupcakes.
Choices.
Every month, 600 kilograms of butter ends up here at Plain Vanilla Bakery, where the golden brick is the heart of so many goodies.
Rich, moist, full of flavor, not too oily. Now, just a year ago, each of these cupcakes would have cost me about $3.90. Today, each cupcake costs about $4.20, or just under a 10% increase in price in a relatively short amount of time.
I want to ask bakery owner Vanessa more about this price increase and surprise her with an unusual request.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for having me here. Some time ago, you posted on Facebook that you were raising your prices because of a price increase in butter.
So butter prices last year started going up in July. It's about 10% initially, then it went up to about 18% increase. Then the next month in September, it went up again. So that was the highest increase that we saw, which was 25% from the original pricing that we paid. And it was at that point that I sort of thought, I don't think we can absorb this anymore.
So what kind of butter do you use here?
So we only use French butter.
Why French butter?
Many reasons. We've tried butter from different origin, different places, and it just doesn't yield the same result, the same fragrance as French butter.
So I'm going to propose an idea to you.
Okay.
And it's going to sound a little bit half-baked, okay?
Okay.
I would like to try baking your cupcakes without butter, with margarine instead.
Oh, okay.
See her reaction.
I'd love to have you in my kitchen. I'm not such a big fan of the margarine, but I think in the name of research, yeah, let's give it a go.
For science.
For science.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's get some margarine.
Margarine is actually made from vegetable oil and is typically a cheap substitute for butter.
She
Trying
can't
to
even...
contain my disgust.
This margarine is 65% cheaper than the French butter usually used.
This is blasphemy, yeah? This is a massive no-no in this place.
It's also not really creaming as it usually does.
Vanessa and I are going to make a dozen cupcakes.
It smells like...
No, yeah, it smells like cheese.
Because smelly cheese has that butyric acid.
That's it.
And we will get people to try both versions.
So, no one told you the perils of eating raw?
Eating raw what?
Raw batter.
Never. It wasn't me.
It looks pretty good actually.
I'm surprised. It's got good volume. It's kind of fluffy too.
Yeah, and the smell's gone as well.
This is Plain Vanilla's very first batch of plain margarine cupcakes.
We leave the margarine cupcakes to bake for 15 minutes.
So Vanessa, how much of the cupcake by weight is butter?
It's about 15%. So that's actually not a lot. If you look at the bowl just now, it wasn't much at all. Yeah. But actually in terms of cost, it's about 43%.
Almost half.
Yeah. So it's one of our most expensive ingredients in the entire cupcake. Okay.
Nice tray of cupcakes.
Looks pretty good.
So to your trained eye, visually, what are you seeing?
Well, it doesn't look bad. I think the color's quite good.
Smell it, go for it. Slightly plasticky thing going.
Yeah, plasticky. It doesn't smell like cheese, but
I'm slightly worried to eat this now. It's also a bit oily, yeah?
Yeah. And also when I ate the bottom, it tastes different from the top in a bad way. So I think it's that grease. Yep, taste processed.
Can ordinary people who do not bake for a living tell which cupcake is made from margarine and which is made from butter?
Tell us.
I think this one is margarine and this one is butter.
Why?
The butter one is more buttery. It tastes like your usual cupcake. It's more fragrant and the margarine has more artificial. It just tastes like margarine.
And I think this is the butter version. So I think this is margarine. I'm confident.
I like that. I like that.
Vanessa has a huge smile on her face.
Yeah.
Voila.
So people who eat butter often can tell very quickly the difference between butter and the more processed taste of margarine. For this bakery, French butter is the way to go. And they aren't alone. Many chefs and bakers do prefer French butter. France is our third largest source of butter, after New Zealand and Holland. In 2018, we imported 2,600 tons of French butter, or beurre in French. That's enough to bake 10 million butter cakes.
So, to find out why butter prices had such a huge spike, I'm headed to France. And as a chef, any reason to go to France is good enough for me. Bye. Get it? Bye. No, okay.
France. Land of pastries and cakes, amongst other buttery delights. I'm going to meet a baker who used to work at one of France's biggest pastry suppliers, and he has brought me the quintessential French delight, croissants.
Nice. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you.
Je te laisse, on partage.
You can smell the butter from this already. Part of the croissant and its structure needs that butter to create those leaves and layers. This is delicious.
Quentin has worked as a baker for 4 years and certainly knows how much butter goes into making a croissant.
How much butter do French people eat annually?
Alors en France, les Français consomment en moyenne 8,2 kg de beurre par an. C'est énorme, on est les premiers consommateurs mondiaux. Voilà, il n'y a pas de gens qui mangent plus de beurre que nous en France. Le beurre fait vraiment partie de notre culture culinaire française. Donc tu le retrouves partout.
The French consume the most butter in the world, while Germany comes second and the Czech Republic comes third. Singaporeans, by comparison, eat about 3 kilograms per person.
On our side of the world in Singapore, we noticed very recently there were significant price increases in butter. Did you notice that in France at all?
Alors en France, oui, nous aussi on a connu la crise du beurre en 2016. Alors pour donner un ordre de prix, le beurre plaque à l'époque, je le vendais aux alentours de 4 € le kilo. Et 2 ans plus tard, je le vendais à 10 € le kilo. Donc le prix a fait plus que de doubler en moins de 2 ans. Pour faire un croissant, on utilise du beurre plaque. D'autres sont passés sur du beurre motte, d'autres sont passés sur du mélange de beurre et qui mélangeaient ça avec de la margarine sans le dire aux clients pour baisser le prix du croissant. Moi, de mon expérience personnelle, ouais, c'est la plus grande crise. On a eu des pénuries, on a eu...
Prices creep up all the time. But it's not often we hear them doubling in just the span of 2 years. Just how did that come about?
This butter, if we really want to win money with this, we must sell it to a totally crazy price.
France is amongst the top 3 suppliers of butter to Singapore. And I want to understand how events here have pushed up butter prices back home.
Dernières années. Alors cette crise du beurre qui dans certains de nos supermarchés s'est même transformée en quasi-pénurie.
I'm on my way to meet the journalist behind this radio program, Anne-Laure Chouang from France Culture, the country's main public radio. It's the weekend, and she has asked me to meet her for a quintessentially Parisian Sunday experience. These farmers' markets spring up in many corners of Paris on Sundays. Sellers here are small distributors and independent producers who farm their own products. It doesn't take me long to spot the beurre, the butter.
No, like more and more people come to these markets or little shops, but not supermarkets, because they know that have to pay the fair prices, which is a higher price, to the producer. So since the milk crisis, actually, 2 or 3 years, markets like this become more and more popular.
Anne-Laure told me that the butter crisis actually started as a milk crisis. In the European Union, dairy farmers were protected because the EU was buying up their products at higher than market prices. As a result, the farmers kept producing more milk, resulting in a milk glut in the 70s and the 80s. So in 1985, the European Union introduced a quota for milk production to correct the oversupply. Since then, the world has demanded more and more dairy products. Many European producers want the milk quota lifted so they can produce more to profit from increasing demand. In 2015, the milk quota was abolished, and history found a way to repeat itself.
The industrials, the distributors and the producers thought that it was a great opportunity to produce more milk and to earn more money. But they produced too much, the prices fell down. A lot of farms went down and it was very, very harsh.
Farm closures and poor weather saw butter production in France drop 3% between 2015 and 2016. And it came at a time when demand for butter elsewhere was shooting up.
There was a high demand on butter everywhere in the world because of several articles. In those articles, it was said that the fat of the butter was actually kind of healthy.
Healthy.
This global increase in butter demand should bring on increasing prices.
That in France, the price of butter was not increasing so much because of the supermarkets.
What role do supermarkets have in setting the price of a commodity like this?
They have a very important role because in France, supermarkets are very few and they have very much power and they concentrate between each other to lower the prices.
When supermarkets in France refused to raise prices, the unthinkable happened. In a country where butter is eaten and used for cooking in almost every meal, the supermarkets ran short of butter. The media spoke of a French butter apocalypse. When butter disappeared from French supermarkets, where did it go? And did this affect the prices I pay in Singapore right now? To find out, I have to journey 200 kilometers west to Normandy.
I've come to the seat of some of the best butter in the world. This is Normandy, well known for its quality of butter. I've used this and it's fantastic stuff.
Much of this region in northwest France used to be wetlands, with a mix of fresh and seawater sources. When the sea retreated hundreds of years ago, it left behind fertile soils which grasses now thrive on. Dairy farmers have raised cows on such grass for hundreds of years and obtained their milk. The butter made from this milk is unusually rich in fat and minerals.
Hello, Monsieur Joel.
Hello, Ming.
Farmer Joel Rusher lives and works on this farm like his great-great-grandfather did.
Come with me?
Sure.
We go to see a cow. Her name is Juno.
Juno. Okay, let's go and see Juno. Meet one cow called Juno. Are you Juno?
No, no, no.
Oh, this is not Juno.
Juno is a hare, I think.
Ah, I see. Hi, everyone. Hello.
I have 60 cows. Each cow has a name.
Each cow has a name, and you can remember all the names.
Number in the haze for the legislation.
Hello, Juno.
He is very friendly.
This is a very gentle cow. Hello. Hi. Hello.
I tell her, be careful, Juno, today we see the television.
Television? She's on television. How much milk does Juno produce?
She produces 40 liters per day.
Wow. Can I take a selfie with you, Juno?
Joel sells the milk from cows like Juno to the world-famous brand of butter, Isigny Saint-Mer.
Beurre d'Isigny is regarded as one of the highest quality butters that we can get in Singapore. It's quite expensive for us. And in fact, we find that the price of butter in Singapore is increasing.
En France, il n'y a pas le respect et la prise de conscience du travail qu'ont les producteurs pour produire leur... Donc je pense que c'est une bonne chose que la coopérative vende à l'étranger et en vendant des produits haut de gamme pour faire des produits qui sont presque considérés, comme nous le disent nos commerciaux, comme des produits de luxe à l'étranger.
So the same block of Isigny butter, which sells for $275 in Paris, can cost 70% more in Singapore. It's no wonder Isigny earns more than half its revenue from exports. So while big players like Isigny have a global reach to find more lucrative markets overseas, I wonder if it's the same for smaller players. At last count, there are over 300 independent dairy farms in Normandy, forming about 4% of the total number. Like this farm, Ferme du Perrier, or Perrier's Farm in English.
Hold it there.
Start.
Okay. So the cows have to be milked twice a day, once in the morning and once in the evening. How much milk is produced every year on this farm?
Alors, on produit, je pense, à peu près 230 000 litres de lait.
Instead of selling to large supermarkets, the milk and dairy products here are sold to a cooperative called Biolic. This gives the farmers more bargaining power to set prices. They also sell their dairy products direct to customers right here on the farm. Arnold is in charge of making these products, and today I'm helping him.
This is the first time in my life I've had fresh, unpasteurized milk. It's rich, thick, and intense on the tongue. This is the real deal, the real stuff.
In French supermarkets, organic butter goes for slightly over $4 for a 250-gram block. At the farm, Arnold is able to charge 20% more, and he gets to cut out the middleman. Yet, he says, given the amount of work and milk that goes into making this butter, there is hardly any profit to be made.
It's about 110, 115, just shy of 120, I think.
Butter. Here we call it just glory because we make it for glory, not for the fun.
Okay.
In fact, Arnold can make 5 times more money selling cheese compared to butter. The margins for butter are so low that he only sells it at his farm and to a few select restaurants.
Okay.
Thanks. This butter, it takes a lot of time to make it, and if we really want to win money with this, we must sell it to a totally crazy price, and we don't want it. We want that the people can buy it.
I can't imagine putting in all that effort and not making any money. As a way of saying thank you to Arnold for inviting me to his farm, I want to let him taste his butter with something classic from Singapore.
This is commonly eaten all over Singapore for breakfast food. Spread of kaya. Nice couple of chunks of butter. So, here.
No, it's perfect. But it's funny because for us, most of the time we eat bread with marmalade, not coconuts, because we don't have coconuts here. But the coconuts taste and pandan.
Pandan, yeah.
Really good.
I don't quite know how to describe this fully, but this is amongst the best butters I've ever had in my life. It is salted just nice for you to pull out that deep flavor. The butter is not homogeneous. There are waves of color through it. This is a completely natural product. And it shows. The quality of this really shows. Here you go, sir. How are your own butter prices set?
For us, it's a real price of this butter.
You said the real price of butter. What goes into the price of butter?
Milk. I need 22 liters from milk to make 1 kilo of my butter. So just with the prices of the milk for the kilo of butter is 11 euro. And then I some electricity, some cold air, a lot of time, a little bit of paper, and so it's around, I win 2 or 3 euro by kilos, but I don't make tons of butter. I just make 10 or 15 kilos by week.
So even at the premium he charges, Arnold can only earn about $200 a month from making butter. No wonder he's reluctant to make more. I've learned that when French supermarkets refuse to pay higher prices for their butter, dairy producers simply ship their butter elsewhere. In Singapore, if we want to continue enjoying this golden brick, we have to get used to paying the true price.
If not, we have to contend with the possibility of our very own butter crisis.
A butter apocalypse in Singapore. That's something I really don't want to see. After the break, I head to the highlands of Malaysia for an ingredient that's as tedious as butter to bring to table.
所以市场上某些人都形容这个菜为小姐菜。
小姐菜。
I am at Pasir Panjang Wholesale Centre.
Morning. So as a self-taught chef, it's kind of essential for me to come down here all the time to figure out what's coming to my restaurants. 蛮美哦，这些。
还好。
Lima fruit leaf. I love using this stuff.
But today, I'm not really here to smell the vegetables. I'm meeting a vegetable importer who knows something insidious about the comings and goings of this business.
Hello, 你好。
Yeah. I'm here in Pasir Panjang already. Are you here? No. You said you would meet me in Pasir Panjang. Remember, we need to talk about this.
我不方便呢，我们在电话讲就好了咯。
So have you met with any problems in the vegetable industry recently?
就是有遇到那些马来西亚车去外面直接分拆越来越严重啊。
From Malaysia.
These sound like vegetable smugglers. They've been around for a decade, but he's noticed that they are more frequent today.
他们从这边进来，直接去分了，分他们的顾客。他们的菜都卖到很便宜啊，菜贩譬如一个月内最少1300。
More than $1,300 a month. Wow, that's quite a lot, huh?
他们马来西亚车直接去分马来西亚的油，当然便宜啦。马来西亚的员工便宜啦。
My source tells me that they can undercut Singapore suppliers by up to 25%.
So how has your business been affected by this?
差不多有减少到70%了咯。
70%. How is this different from the local vegetables that go through Pasir Panjang?
我们巴士班江这边我们来了，我们有通过那个 SFA 检查农药有没有超标，一旦超标我们就要销毁掉了。
Since 2017, the Singapore Food Agency took action against 81 cases of illegal vegetable imports. In total, almost 28 tons of undeclared vegetables were seized.
So I learned that vegetables that bypass Pasir Panjang Wholesale Centre don't go through stringent pesticide checks. That means we have no way of knowing if they carry harmful levels of pesticides at all. Now, have vegetables become so expensive that food establishments must resort to buying vegetables from unregulated sources?
It turns out in the last decade, prices for leafy vegetables have gone up across the board. We are now paying 17% more for our spinach and 34% more for our cabbage. But Kailan tops them all with a 39% price increase.
So living in Singapore, I expect the prices of all sorts of things to increase over time. But what makes Kailan so special that its price would spike more than any other sort of vegetable? Is it a question of rising demand or dwindling supply? Or both?
Kailan is an essential Chinese vegetable. You'd find it in southern Chinese dishes like wonton mee, or even simply stir-fried with oyster sauce. There is a certain texture to this vegetable that has no pear, basically. You have other sorts of leafy vegetables, definitely. You have chai sim, you have wong bok, right? You have nai pai, but it is Kailan that has a specific flavor to it. And my personal favorite part of the Kailan is the stem. And I'm not alone in my love for Kailan. Although demand in Singapore has dipped slightly in the last 5 years, we still ate up 4,700 tons last year. That's 43,000 packs of Kailan we're eating every day. So I really want to know, why has the price of Kailan gone up far more than other greens?
The last week I've been rooting around trying to find vegetable suppliers who are willing to speak to me. Finally, I found one guy who is willing to talk to me, and I'm hoping they can shed some light on where this problem stems from.
I hadn't realized this before, but vegetable suppliers are awfully shy. Because he works for one of the larger importers, he prefers to keep his identity under wraps. But he tells me about something that has changed in the last decade. And this is affecting how much our Kailan costs.
Starting from a few years back, right, SFA, they have set a stricter requirement and a new system for inspecting this pesticide residue. So Kailan, they came in, okay, which failed the pesticide residue inspection, will be disposed. So that's why a lot of growers, when they know this, they do not want to continue growing. So that's why lesser growers grow and export to Singapore.
So when SFA decided to step up the pesticide controls, was Kailan more affected compared to other vegetables?
The requirement for all the vegetables is the same.
It's the same.
Yeah, why was Kailan more affected in price? Is because they can sell more in Malaysia compared to Singapore. Malaysian, okay, they prefer to eat Kailan. So that's the reason why when the farmers, they don't sell it to Singapore, they still have the option of selling it in their market. For other vegetable, other range, they might not be so popular.
That means the supply that's available to Singapore reduces a lot, lah.
Yes, you can say so.
So it turns out demand for Kailan is just as high in Malaysia. When more stringent checks were put in place, Malaysian growers began diverting their Kailan to domestic markets rather than risk their shipments failing checks in Singapore. Basic economics: lower supply, higher demand equals higher prices. So I'm headed to Cameron Highlands to visit a farm that's still supplying Kailan to Singapore. Do they have to do anything differently to meet our strict requirements? I'm here with Ah Siang. Together with his 5 siblings, he runs Pek Ong and Sons Nurseries and manages the family's Kailan farm.
不用去按啦，
按一点了，
按一点。
给它在中央区那边
如果没有把它按进去的话呢？
可能它的发芽率并没有这么理想哦。
Kailan takes 2 times longer to grow compared to cai sing or kangkong. And it also emits a fragrance that is more likely to attract insects. So workers have to check on it more often to make sure it remains pest-free.
芥兰呢，它算是比较不容易去生长的，是吗？
对呀，所以市场上某些人都形容这个菜为小姐菜。
小姐菜。
Kailan needs lots of sunlight and cool temperatures. If the temperature exceeds 25 degrees Celsius, pests are more likely to attack.
这个芥兰在高原所面对的问题，虫害是相当的严重的。 就是说虫害跟这个病害，我们都很严厉地去管制它，所以这个成本也是我们的主要因素。
So I'm not sure if you can see this, but there's a lively little what appears to be a sort of a silkworm. So this is the #1 enemy of kailan here. These guys attack these leaves. Ah Xiang tells me that in order to meet Singapore's strict regulations, he started using pesticides that cost 30 to 40% more. Fertilizers that are 10 times more expensive.
无论我们从那个施肥的角度，那个单元肥都是进口，所以我们的菜才有这么漂亮。无论我们施那个农药都是以合规格的农药来使用，这个就是市场所需要。
哇，教我一下可以吗？
可以啊。
Next, Ah Xiang is giving me a crash course on harvesting.
哦，从那边割的。
Kailan is harvested when it's about 1 foot long, with big green leaves, and then it's quickly wrapped in paper.
一包这样多重啊？
大概是1 kg 一包。
OK， 我来试一下。Fold in half. Select veggies.
It's only 9 a.m., but there's lots to be done. The kailan for the day needs to be harvested, sorted,
these look long enough,
and packed before 6 p.m.
So the reason why we're rushing this, and he has basically gone on to harvest much faster than my city hands. They do this because they want it to be fresh in the best quality. And okay, I better pack this quickly. I'm struggling with this right now. Hold on, this does not look good. Oh.
阿明，怎么了？不行啊！
不行啊！
哎呦，不行！你看虫洞蛮多的，不行。
I drove halfway across Peninsular Malaysia, across tea plantations and strawberry farms, and into the clouds of the Cameron Highlands. All to find out why the price of our kailan has gone up by 39%. I've come to meet Ah Xiang of Pek Ong and Sons Nurseries. They own one of the largest farms here and supply 500 kilograms of kailan to Singapore every day. And I've learned that our pesticide standards have tightened in the last decade, and farmers have had to use more expensive pesticides to produce kailan that can be sold safely in Singapore.
阿明，行不行？哎呦，又弄错了，这些货不可以出新加坡，
不可以出啊？
漂亮，
不行，
不是拼喵的不行啊。
把长度 OK 吗？
不行，你看虫洞蛮多的，不行。哎呦。
太多洞了啊！
哎呦，不行啊，不行。
OK， 不行，这个也不行
啊，这个也不行。
That's half my bunch, man. Thanks. Half my batch, failed the pass master.
再来。
OK。
啊，
这样 OK，
这样就很好。明啊，快点啊，找不到吃啊！快。
OK 吗？
啊，这个就是我要的。
Now it's not exactly surprising, but Singapore is a fussy customer to please. And I'm learning just what that entails for kailan here.
是说他们对市场的彼此的货源有一个比较，所以我们做农的一定要跟顾客的配合，市场的需求，这样我们才可以做到我们要的。所以这样我们的成本呢，近这几年也是不断地张扬，通货膨胀，所以这个就是我们要做好品质，才可以卖到一个相当理想的价钱。这些完全就不能出，这个是逼迫。无论是它的长度也不达标啊，
它又长又厚。
不行，不够长。你要看它的叶子的绿色够不够，看黄黄的
黄的
不行了。
Not always about length, apparently. 这个是 B 货 then A 货呢
？A 货，来过来。这个你看怎么样？ 它的叶子的虫害的问题并没有影响到，还有它的长度全部都是有1尺以上，
颜色很深啊。
啊，对。
Farmers like Ah Xiang are caught between our low pesticide limits and our high beauty standards. Too much pesticide, and the kailan fails residual tests. Too little, and it suffers too much damage from pests and must be deemed grade B. Doomed for the dumpster.
这里就是全部Grade B需要毁掉的300公斤。
300公斤。
对呀、
300 kilograms of wasted kailan a day.
这里的总数就是我的Grade B里面的300公斤，占了我的总数18%。
No wonder this farm invested over $330,000 to switch from soil to a greenhouse hydroponic system. That's how they can produce high-quality kailan in such large quantities. It's unbelievable to me that all the time, effort and resources used to grow kailan can potentially go straight to the dump, simply because the kailan didn't look good enough for sale.
I'm literally standing ankle deep in an entire lorry's back full of kailan. This was harvested just today. Look at that. A whole plant that took 60 days of growing, all sorts of effort, fertilization, pesticides, and all for naught. All this effort going to waste to grow this stuff that doesn't reach the market and can't be sold.
These vegetables might not look the same, but nutritionally speaking, A and B are identical. I want to challenge Singaporeans to take a second look at the ugly stepsister of the kailan world. With the help of a few friends,
Here helping me, seasoned chip. So I'm here at the Pasar Malam, and the star of the show today is ugly, unappealing, and rejected kailan. This is full of holes, right? This is different from the kailan that we eat in supermarkets because this can't pass muster, but it's still good to eat. All right, what we'll be doing today is trying to blend in with our neighbors in this Pasar Malam. And what better way to do that than to cook fried food?
I bought 10 kilograms each of grade A and grade B kailan. I want to prove that when it comes to the crunch, looks just don't matter.
So we'll be frying some kailan chips up, seasoning them with a tasty salt. And once they've been seasoned, we will let people try the difference between grade A kailan chips and grade B kailan chips. I'm really excited / nervous to find out how this goes.
I've laid out grade A kailan chips in the red cup and grade B in the blue cup.
Hi everyone, kailan chips free 啊，免费的，来，芥兰啊，脆的，kailan chips, come and try. Hi, would you like to try some kailan chips? Don't worry, I'm not a stranger. Where are your parents? Kailan chips, anyone? You want to try? Please come help yourselves. No. Kailan vegetables? Don't like vegetables. Okay, I guess kids don't really eat vegetables these days, but they're fried and crispy.
It took a bit of coaxing in the beginning, but I got enough curious people willing to give it a go.
For free kailan chips, crispy kailan chips. Would you like to try some kailan? No? Also, don't eat vegetables. Okay, sure. Roughage is important, huh? Good for healthy bowel movements.
Eventually,
Blue cup and the red cup. Is there a big difference between the two?
Not really.
Okay, so 这两杯芥兰啊 ，OK， 有没有分别还是一样的？你觉得有分别？什么分别？
这个比较脆，
红色的比较脆啊，然后蓝色的？
蓝色没这么脆，
没有这么脆。
蓝色比较好吃。
cooked this way, no one could tell the difference between grade A and grade B kailan. Many even preferred my grade B sample. What will they think when I reveal the price difference between the two?
The blue one can't change. Okay, now what if I were to tell you that one of these, right, is 2 to 3 times more expensive than the other one? Would you believe me?
No.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
By knowing these price differences, would you still buy the more expensive one in the red cup?
No.
这是红色啦 A 货，蓝色的是 B 货。所以红色的呢，价钱比蓝色的贵，有2倍啊。
对，2到3倍。
啊，但差别不多，对吗？
对，差别不多。
差别不多。Okay. So knowing this, right? If you could buy the B grade kailan at supermarkets, right? Would you buy it?
Definitely.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
For that, right, I give you a bit more. Okay.
I'm done with my experiment, and I'm going to give out the rest of my grade B kailan.
Okay, enjoy. Kailan for you, sir. You look very fit. Means you eat a lot of vegetables, right? Don't want lah. Kailan, free one. Don't want. Okay, your head look like muscle also. Fine. Free kailan. Anyone wants a kailan? Come. Come and take. Don't be shy. Free kailan. Anyone? Free kailan? Ah, okay. Thank you, sir. Sweet. No more already. We're out. Empty. Oh, God. My entire supply of grade B kailan is out. None left. It's safe to say that today's experiment was a success. Now we got people to try 2 types of kailan. The more expensive, pretty looking stuff, and the much cheaper but almost identical in terms of texture and flavor, grade B kailan. Now I hope this leaves you with some food for thought. Why are we paying so much more just for pretty kailan?